Okay, so number 5 states, in the figure below, lines M and N are parallel. What is the value of x? So once again, I see an equation inside of my triangle. So I know I'm going to have to do angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180. Now, if you notice in the very center of our picture, we have a triangle. Now, I have my angle 1 and I have my angle 2. However, I do not have the third angle inside of the triangle. So I'm going to use 123 to find the third angle that I'm missing that's inside of the triangle. Now remember, we cannot use 123 because that's outside of the triangle. We can only use the 3 angles that are inside to set up my equation. But thankfully, we know that the inside angle and the 123 add up to 180 because they make a straight line. So 180 minus 123 will give me 57. So now that I've used 123 to find 57, I'm going to pretend that doesn't exist anymore because it served its purpose. Now I can set up my equation. So angle 1 can be 3x minus 3. Angle 2 can be 66. And angle 3 can be 57 equals 180. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine my like terms. Now if you notice, there's only one number with an x, so there's nothing to combine the 3x with, so I'm going to print it down. Then the rest of the numbers, negative 3 plus 66 plus 57, will give me 120. Then bring down your equals 180. This is a two-step equation, so my first step is to jailbreak the plus 20, and it becomes a minus 120. So then 180 minus 120 gives me 60. And then I'm going to bring down my 3x. The opposite of multiplying by 3 will be to divide by 3. And 60 divided by 3 will be 20. So my final answer for this one will be 20 because the question is very simple. What is the value of x? And my x is 20. And that was the answer you were supposed to have put into your grid of response. Question number 6. In the figure below, lines L and M are parallel, and line S and T are transversals that go through L and M. Which statement is true about the angles formed by these lines? So let's look at answer choice A. Angles 3 and 6 are vertical. Well, let's see if that's true. Angle 3 is right here. I have highlighted it blue. And then angle 6 is right here. If you notice, they're right across from each other. So we know these are known as vertical angles. So angle 3 and angle 6 are vertical angles. So that is true. So that is my answer. Those two angles are vertical. Okay, moving on to the next problem, number 7. It says Maple Street and Elm Street are parallel to each other and both intersect at Arbor Street. Which statement must be true? So before I can determine which of these statements is true, I need to be able to figure out all my measurements. So if I know this is 80, then I know angle 6 is 80 because they're vertical. Okay, now if I know that angle 6 is 80 and angle 7 is missing and I'm looking for that, I know that these two angles make a straight line. Okay, so if they make a straight line, we know it's 180. So basically I could do 180 minus 80 gives me 100. So angle 7 is 100. And if angle 7 is 100, then angle 5 is also 100 because they're vertical angles. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these two vertical angles of 80 and I'm going to correspond them to the two angles up here, which will be 2 and 3. So this angle and angle 6 correspond to angle 3 and 2. So that means angle 2 is 80 and angle 3 is also 80 degrees. Now I'm going to take angle 5 and 7 and correspond those measurements over to the top part of the design. So therefore, I know that angle 1 is also 100 and angle 4 is also 100 because angle 1 and 4 correspond to 5 and 7 and angle 6 and this 80 correspond to angle 2 and 3. Now that I have my measurements for all the angles, I can determine which statement is true. So angle 1 equals 80. Clearly, I said that angle 1 is 100, so that's not the answer because we're looking for the one that's true. Answer choice B, 3 and 7 are equal. So angle 3 and angle 7 are equal. Angle 3 is 80. Angle 7 is 100. So no, that doesn't work. Angle C, answer choice C, they're saying the measure of angle 2 equals 80. Angle 2 is right there and it does equal 80. So I know my answer is C. Now if you look at D, it says that 7 and 6 are equal to each other. Clearly, angle 6 is 80, angle 7 is 100, so there's no way that it could be answer choice D. So we were right. The answer is C. Okay, problem number 8. Triangle JKL is shown below. What is the measure of angle JKL? So if you highlight the angle JKL, clearly the angle we're looking for is basically K, which is the corner of the angle. So we are looking for angle K. Now, if you notice, there's an equation, 4x for K. So before I can figure out the measurement of that angle, I need to figure out what the value of x is. So that means I have to set up my equation. Angle 1 plus angle 2 plus angle 3 equals 180. Now, if you notice, inside of the triangle, I only have 2 of the angles. I'm missing the third angle that's inside. However, I do have the outside angle, which is 152, and I know that the inside angle and the outside angle make a straight line. So that means it's 180 minus 152, okay? 180 minus 152, and I always check with my calculator. My angle will be 28 because 180 minus 152 is 28. Now that 152 served its purpose by allowing me to figure out what the inside angle is, I'm going to pretend 152 doesn't exist. I don't need it anymore. Now I have my 3 angles that are inside of the triangle. I can set up my equation. So I'm going to start with angle 1, 6x minus 8. Second angle is plus 4x. And my third angle is 28 equals 180. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. If you notice, I have 2 numbers with x's, 6x plus 4x. That will give me 10x. And then I have negative 8 plus 28, and that should give me 20. Then bring down your equals 180. Now it's a 2-step equation. Jailbreak your constant. That's the number without the x. So that becomes the opposite of a plus 20 is a minus 20. So we're left with 10x equals 160. And then we're going to divide by 10 because the opposite of multiplying by 10 is to divide by 10. So x equals 16. So now, if you go back to the original question, what is the measure of angle JKL? We're looking for this angle. So therefore, we're not done yet. We have to take 16 and go back over here and plug it into my equation. So my equation is 4x. So instead of the x, I'm going to put parentheses. And in goes 16 into those parentheses because that's the value of x. So now if you type that in exactly like it looks into your calculator, you're basically doing 4 times 16, which is 64. So the measure of angle JKL is 64.